Hey guys, so we're here at Gold's Gym, our usual stomping grounds, and what I'm going to show you today, or I'm going to have Dave actually show you, is a cable tricep extension using an incline bench, one arm at a time. It's a unique angle and it gives you a unique hit on the triceps. Personally, I kind of feel it more on the inner head of the tricep myself, but you can actually play with your arm position a little bit to try to feel it in different heads of the triceps. Can't isolate one head, but of course you can switch emphasis a little bit. It's a very strict movement, a really good movement for getting a peak contraction, and I'll have Dave demonstrate it for you now. It's an excellent exercise to add to your tricep program. Okay, here's the cable stack. And here's how we have the incline bench set up. A little above a 45-degree angle. He's using the right arm first, and as you can see, he's leaning the torso into the working arm. This helps to isolate the triceps a little bit better, keeps the shoulders out of the movement, and he's sort of getting a slight chopping downward motion. He's coming up to the top, as you can see, for a full stretch, so the range of motion is very full, and is coming down to a full contraction of the tricep. And as you can see, the whole tricep is contracting very, very hard. The way he has his arm positioned, it's very, very close to the body, but you can experiment a little bit by bringing the arm away from the body a little bit and just changing the angle of the movement. That'll just give you a little different feel of the tricep. As you can see, we're only using about 15 pounds on this movement. You do not need a lot of weight. You want to focus on the stretch and the contraction, really squeezing those heads at the bottom. Excellent tricep movement. Okay guys, so we're here on Beaver by Broser, and this is something that I want to show you in regards to chest training, which is basically how to properly position the torso so that when you're doing chest, and when I say chest, this means everything from incline presses to bench presses with barbells or dumbbells, flies, dips, even cable crossovers. The same torso positioning is going to allow you to keep the anterior deltoids and the triceps out of the movement as much as possible and recruit as much pec stimulation and fibers as possible. So I'm going to show you how you position the torso before you even start your set, and you want to keep your torso in this position throughout the entire set and never lose this position. And this is how you build the chest. I think that a lot of people who have weak chest development often have very strong deltoid in the front and tricep development because they're doing a lot of their chest movements using those body parts more than using the pecs. It's not always a genetic thing or not training intensely enough. It's sometimes just this positioning of the torso that people don't have down pat, which I got very early on, which helped me to build my chest from the early stages of training. So let me show you how to do that now. Okay guys, so first thing I do when I lay down, we're doing this on an incline Smith today, but like I said, it's whether you're doing flat presses or inclines or anything in between. First thing I do is actually stick my head back into the bench, and I use it to lift my body up and roll my shoulders down and back into the bench. So I'm shrugging my shoulders downward and back into the bench. This also raises up my chest and raises up my rib cage. And I'm putting a small arch in my lower back. So when I'm in this position here, this is the position that I want for my torso throughout the set. So when I grab the bar and I start pressing, I stay in this position. The key is a lot of people, they'll start in this position, but as the set progresses, they'll start to come out of this position and start to push the shoulders forward rather than keeping the chest up. You have to keep the chest up high so the shoulders stay back below the chest. So here, you come down, the chest remains high, and you stay in this position throughout. What you do not do is you do not push the shoulders forward and drop the chest down. You want to keep that chest up nice and high, arch in the lower back, stay in this position throughout. And it's better that you let a training partner give you forced reps at the end using the same positioning rather than pushing with the shoulders at the top. So this same position, like I said, it's the same thing whether you're doing flies, whether you're doing it flat, even you're up doing dips or cable crossovers. You want that chest out, arch in the lower back, rib cage high, the shoulders down and back, shrugged, and that'll help you to stimulate the pectoral fibers and keep as much anterior deltoid and triceps out of the movement as possible. You cannot use as much weight as you normally do in the beginning, but over time, you will actually get stronger in the movement and you'll see a lot better development in your pecs. So give that a shot in your next workout.
Alright guys, we're back with Big E here, Merlin. It's Monday, so people have questions for you.
As usual.
As usual. So what do we got today?
First question is from our good friend Fentress Lane. He wanted to know what my thoughts are about being a vegan or a vegetarian bodybuilder during contest prep. That unfortunately is not a great thing to be when you're a bodybuilder, in my opinion, because I believe that you really kind of need complete proteins from, especially talking about vegans who generally don't eat even fish or eggs. They won't have protein powders. And obviously no meats. That's a big problem when it comes to retaining muscle. So if you are a vegan and that's just your lifestyle, I'm not going to say don't try to compete. I mean, obviously you still want to try to do that, but you're going to have to make sure that you are able to combine foods very, very meticulously to get complete proteins throughout the day. And I would say also to make sure to keep your branched chain amino acids very, very high if you can supplement with those. And also because you're not going to be eating any meat, you'll definitely need to supplement with creatine to keep those stores full, which will help to keep you strong and to retain muscle. Now, if you're a vegetarian, there are pesco vegetarians who will eat fish. There are ovo-lacto vegetarians who will eat eggs and milk products. And that's a little bit easier because at least you can get complete proteins from fish, or you can get it from eggs, and maybe some protein powders, which will make it an easier transition and to retain muscle when you're getting ready for a show, to build muscle when you're not getting ready for a show. But I will just say this: it's not the optimal way to bodybuild. Bodybuilders generally have always eaten red meat and chicken and turkey and these foods as well, because they are the ones that have complete proteins and they do build muscle and they have supporting nutrients. So it is definitely a very difficult endeavor to get ready for a show as a vegetarian, and especially a vegan. Not impossible. It's been done before. I believe there was a famous pro bodybuilder named Andres Calling who was a vegetarian.
Wow.
And he I don't know if he allowed any complete proteins in his diet or not, but I know he was a vegetarian of some type. And while he was not the most massive guy, he still obviously did turn IFBB pro and looked fantastic, and I'm sure there's plenty more out there. So just mainly, if you are somebody who's a vegetarian or a vegan, I'd say definitely make sure that you can supplement with branched chain amino acids or a full spectrum amino acids throughout the day, and creatine, and do the best that you can to make sure you're combining foods properly so that you're getting complete proteins. But without complete proteins, your body's going to break down muscle tissue from training, and it's going to be very, very difficult to retain muscle. So just make sure, if you can do that, do the best that you can, and definitely give it a shot. I mean, it's definitely tough to do, but you can do it. Okay, this question comes from Mark Brangle, who actually competed in the All Max 8-week challenge and placed second. Looked absolutely unbelievable by the end of the challenge, and he wanted to know, he's continuing on after the challenge and trying to better his physique. Currently he's eating 4 meals a day, and he's having his meals about every 3.5 hours, and he wanted to know, would he be better off actually going to 5 meals a day rather than 4 meals a day? Would that make a difference, keeping the calories and the protein, the carbs and the fats the same, but spreading it over 5 meals rather than 4? And my answer to that is yes. I think that would be a better way to go. I think that the more meals that you eat in a day will do 2 things. First of all, I believe you will assimilate the nutrients better from the meal, from smaller meals. Your body has an easier time digesting the proteins, the carbs, and the fats. So I think that you'll get more of the nutrients into your system more effectively by having smaller meals more frequently throughout the day. Second of all, I also believe that every time you eat a meal, especially because us as bodybuilders, and we eat a lot of protein. Protein has a very large thermic effect, which basically means it stimulates the metabolism quite a bit every time that we eat. So when you're trying to stay lean, which most of us are, you're going to burn more calories and keep the metabolism more stimulated throughout the day by having more frequent meals. And then on top of that, also by having more frequent meals, your blood sugar will stay more stable, which will keep your appetite down. It'll keep you more satisfied during the day and make it easier to diet. So I just think for those reasons, while you may not see a huge difference immediately, over time I believe the cumulative effect will be that you'll retain more muscle and lose body fat easier. So yes, if you can, split the meals over 5 rather than 4. And if you eat 5 meals and you could split over 6, that's even better. I think the more frequent feedings, the better. Usually, I would say minimum of about 2 hours between meals is good. So eating every 2 to 2.5 hours, I think, is optimal for most of us. So yes, Mark, split the meals over 5 rather than 4, and I think your results over time will be a lot better.
All right, Biggie, what else you got?
All right, we got one more question today, and surprise, surprise, this one comes from Kim Bridges. Now that's 3 in a row. So what do they call that? A hat trick in hockey?
Yeah.
Or a triple in baseball. So she got 3 questions in a row. First time she asked about boobs, and the second time it's butt or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, now she's asking about what she calls the eliminate the bra muffin top, which is like the back fat that's under the bra. How do you eliminate it? What's the best way to eliminate it? What's the best way to work it? That's what she wants to know. First and foremost, let me say there's no such thing as spot reducing. So you can't just pick a movement, whether it be for that area, whether it be for the lower stomach, whether it be for the thighs. You can't just pick a movement and say, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do 1,000 reps and it's going to reduce that area. That's never worked. It will not work, so don't even try it. So basically, the idea is the need to burn overall body fat. Now, all of us have a genetic predisposition to the way we burn body fat, basically in different orders. Some of us burn fat more from the front earlier on, and then later in the diet it comes off the back. Some people lower to upper body, some people upper to lower body. Just all of us are a little bit different. So if that's your area, that's the area that is the most stubborn, basically it just means that you're going to have to go further into the diet and further into the cardio before you start to eliminate fat from that area. So really there's no solution in terms of hitting this particular exercise. Now obviously to hit that area, you're talking about back movements, seated cable rows, one arm rows, wide grip pull downs, everything that works, the lats, the rhomboids, the trapezius, all that area back there, of course, to build the muscle in that area. But you're not going to burn fat from that. The fat's going to come from increased cardio, from lowered calories, obviously progressive over time. And like I said, every person, no matter who it is, has a stubborn area that's always the last thing to come off their body. Even bodybuilders who are getting ready for competitions and they're a week out from a show, they may have some area, maybe the lower part of the glutes or the lower part of the stomach, that's just that last area to come in, and it just is the last thing to happen. But usually, as long as you're progressive with your diet and your cardio, it does get eliminated. So you're just going to have to push to that next level, and you'll get rid of the fat from that area. So like I said, Kim, there's no direct exercise that's going to burn. There's no such thing as spot reducing. So for the ladies, as you ask, just keep going on the diet, push the diet and the cardio further, and eventually that fat will come off of all areas.
Well, that was a good question, but a really bad answer. I'm sure she'll think.
She's going to say, yeah, I was expecting something much easier, like a Merlin magic question.
Nope. Yeah. All right. Thanks, Biggie.